Back on the RJ Young Show, my man Mayberry on the ones and twos, doing yeoman's work behind the board. Shout out to Mayberry, man. He is making this show go. You know who makes this NFL thing go? The draft. As much as we love to talk about what the season's going to look like and what Tom Brady may or might not do, I'm so interested in the draft because it gives me an opportunity to evaluate general managers and scouts and franchises about not just what they believe and what they know, but how good they are at doing their jobs. Sometimes I believe that they're the folks that might get a pass in all of this because either one, they want to go with a proven commodity so that they look good, or two, they absolutely positively want to stay away from anything that doesn't sound like a surefire thing, which is what's most interesting about Jalen Hurts, because he is going to show you what the hype train did or did not do in 2020, which is a wild year already, where we have NFL general managers, we have scouts, we have player personnel directors saying, hey man, this is really hard to do with these impediments. Oh, okay, cool. You don't want the job. You're not very good at the job. Give up the reins. You know, I spend more time watching huddle film than I do so many other things so that I can be knowledgeable about these kiddos as they go from high school to college. I was very early on the Derek Stingley train saying this is one of the greatest players I've ever seen at his position. So far, I'm right. You know, I mean, there's a reason for why we really put some emphasis on our analysts and say that dude was way ahead. Maybe we should follow what he's doing. So when Jalen Hurts gets drafted, we'll know what the NFL thought about him. We'll also know what coaches thought about perhaps wanting to draft him. Like all these stories come out after the fact of who they were going to go get, right? Oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes, we were thinking about it, but we didn't want to pull the trigger that early. Oh yeah, if Baker Mayfield would have fallen to 31 or 32, the Patriots would have nabbed him. We weren't willing to trade up. Or, hey, we were willing to trade up, but we didn't want to trade up that much. I mean, it's all whimsy-wazzy fugazi after the fact. You can tell whatever story you want after the fact. So it's important that we take into account what the kids are saying that they hear from the teams. And while Jalen Hurts, who is a self-described old soul and also wants to be discreet about who is talking with him and not talking with him, gave an answer to Rich Eisen I thought was interesting about whether or not Bill Belichick had reached out to him. I love that. So we get Jalen Hurts going no comment about whether or not he talked to Bill Belichick, who is close and tight with Nick Saban, as many of you know. But we also get a no comment, which is Nick Fury at the end of Captain Marvel saying that he will neither confirm nor deny the facts of that story about how he lost his eye. Now, we know that an alien ripped it out, right? But the lore has made it into something else entirely. So, while I'm certain Jalen Hurts has had conversations with one Bill Belichick, I'm also not terribly certain that he ends up a Patriot. And the reason that is because it fits. It fits our narrative. It fits what we believe the Patriots should be. You know, it fits what we think the Patriots ought to be. Stoic. About the game. About ball. Very smart. Using what we perceive as not awesome players, but players who are good at the sport of football and smart about football to win football games. And now we're in this really interesting phase of New England Patriot history where the 20-year union of Belichick and Brady has been broken up, both of which have something to prove that they can do this apart from each other, which kind of makes the next quarterback up, whether it be Jarrett Stidham or Jalen Hurts, the other woman in a bad divorce, the other man in a bad divorce. Toward the end of this thing, we all knew that the writing was on the wall. We just didn't want to believe it. When Belichick drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round, that told us what we needed to know. When Jimmy Garoppolo got traded at the trade deadline after Belichick said he would not trade Jimmy Garoppolo, that told us what we wanted to know. Or what we should know, but what we didn't acknowledge. When we saw Brady get what we thought was a 2-year extension, because that's what we wanted to believe it, and then it's actually a year-to-year with incentives that he wasn't going to reach, that he couldn't reach, even in a year where he passed 4,000 yards, that told us what Belichick thought of Brady and as far as he was willing to go. It didn't matter that Daddy Kraft wanted to see a Tom Brady retire in a New England jersey. It mattered that Daddy Belichick said, no one is bigger than my football team. And they've continued to extend that out, right? And we'll talk some more about how the Patriots plan to go about doing that, in that Matthew Slater was put on a conference call with NFL media. And he said some very interesting things about who the Patriots are and what the Patriots need to do. Okay? I thought that was interesting because Matthew Slater is now the longest tenured Patriot on the roster. I also thought that was interesting because Matthew Slater is a special teams dynamo. He is a member of Suicide Squad, and I'm not talking about Deadshot. Quote that he gave that sticks out in all of this is, I don't think the goals change at all. The standard doesn't change at all. The pillars that we stand upon, they don't change at all. If you go into the season with a defeatist mindset, then you can't expect to be successful. We have a great opportunity. We have a lot of good football players. We have a tremendous coaching staff. We have to go into the season expecting more from ourselves than anyone outside the building expects from us. We have to go in with the same drive, the same focus, the same determination. If we don't, shouldn't even step foot in the building because we're already going to get beat. He was complimentary of Brady's time at the Patriots, complimentary of how he chose to exit, not making a large fuss about it. Complimentary about just what they had been able to achieve because Tom Brady was the quarterback. And then goes into how Jarrett Stidham's a nice kid. We think that he can lead us to an outstanding season. I think he would say the same about Jalen Hurts. I think he would say the same about Elvis Gerback. I think he would say the same about Nathan Peterman. And the Peterman threw 6 interceptions in one half. Because that's who the Patriots are. The Patriots believe they are bigger than any quarterback. Even the greatest quarterback of all time. And they can't wait to have an opportunity to prove that. Jalen Hurts would fit into that. He would fit into what they are and what they're building because while we all want to look at the win-loss record that Jalen Hurts has put up, he also played with 2 first-round wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. He played with 2 of the best offensive lines in football at Alabama and Oklahoma. He played with outstanding running backs, Kennedy Brooks, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs. He's had a charmed existence as a quarterback, and somehow we want to make him into someone that is bigger than the 6'2", 220-pound dude he is, that isn't necessarily terribly accurate with the football, that won't throw the ball down the field with accuracy, and is more likely to pull it and run than he is to dump it off to running backs. I'm sure Belichick can make that work. I'm sure that he could put that into a wing tee and probably win football games with it, but that's not Jalen Hurts doing that. That'd be Bill Belichick and the Patriot way doing that. I want to know, just like you want to know, is the Patriot way bigger than Tom Brady? I think that it is. I'm going to bet the coach on this one. I'm going to bet the coach on this one because the player that I'm betting against turns 43 in August. I'm not betting against LeBron James in his 30s right now. That's not what we're doing. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes, who is in the middle of his prime right now. That's not what I'm doing. I'm betting against a 43-year-old player playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have sucked and haven't won a doggone thing in 20 years. I'm betting that Brad Johnson has a better NFL career for Tampa Bay than Tom Brady because in Tampa Bay put up only 5,000 yards of offense in 2000, and Brad Johnson only passed for about 2,500 yards that season. Rode a defense to a Super Bowl. But that's going to be one more Super Bowl then Tom Brady wins in Tampa. He ain't the guy. As a matter of fact, Jalen Hurts ending up at New England has a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl in the years coming than Tom Brady does with Chris Godwin, with O.J. Howard, and with, yes, of course, Mike Evans at wide receiver. I'm not betting against a coach that continues to coach into his 60s and into his 70s. I'm betting against a quarterback who's losing a step, whose arms turned into a water pistol, who can't be necessarily trusted to make things happen when the play breaks down. I don't think that that's a reach. I don't think that that's a hot take. I think that's just how it is. This is the NFL where everybody wants to tell me all the time it's a team game. All right? Nobody's bigger than the team. Jalen Hurts fits into that. It would be cool if he ended up in New England. Again, it'd be what we would want. It would fit our narrative, but because it fits our narrative, that's why I don't think it happens. Because what does Bill Belichick like more than thwarting what we think his football team ought to be? His best player last year is his best player this year. Stephon Gilmore. Who saw that coming with the Patriots? You know, I see that and I say, Jalen Hurts, New England, cool. Be all about it. But it probably won't happen. Let me go from that to this. The Chinese Basketball Association is very much trying to restart its season. It wanted to restart its season this weekend, April 5th. It was calling back American players and saying things like, if you don't come back, you won't be allowed to get back in ever. Players like Jeremy Lin had to really think about that. Players like O.J. Mayo had to really think about that. And you know what? They decided to go into quarantine because they had figured out what we are all figuring out. China seems to have, at least on the surface, the coronavirus under control, controlling the outbreak. But they have since pushed back the day that they're going to start. It was going to be April 15th. Now it might not be until the end of the month or into May. And this is interesting because it's also coming with another set of challenges, right? It's coming with another set of issues. Things like we might just decide to quarantine all of our CBA teams into just a couple of cities with the lowest percentage of outbreak and put them in sort of a biodome where we have doctors there around the clock and we play, on again, off again, so we can finish the season out in the safest environment that we can put together. You can do that in the Chinese Basketball Association, the same reason that you can have WWE's WrestleMania 36 this weekend, because no union exists. There's no superstar union. There's no Chinese Basketball Association union. There's just ownership. I have that in the NBA. That's a problem. When LeBron James comes out and says he is averse to anything that might look like what China's trying to do to get their season going in late April, early May, you have a problem. Because LeBron James is the most influential voice in the sport today. As a matter of fact, the only time that he's had to walk back something he said here of late is when he did not fully understand just how lethal and how dangerous this pandemic is. And he said, oh, okay, I would play in empty arenas because of that. But now he's saying, I don't want to play in an empty arena, which is crucial to what China's trying to do. We're getting to this point where so many performers on radio, on television, as athletes are saying, I need a crowd. When did that become it? When did that become a thing? When was it not in vogue for you to work in the dark? Why do you need a crowd to go and do the job of playing basketball? Cool, style points matter. We all get charged up off the energy. But if you want to get somebody to tell you that you're doing a good job, call your moms up. Don't call my moms up because she's going to tell you exactly what you need to work on in your game. She does with my show. Baby, I really wish you would tone down on this. I wish you would raise up on that. Why don't you talk about this a little less? Why don't you talk about that a little more? Those are my parents. But my parents also were the folks that were saying, no, go work in the garage. You don't need me. Go through it. Get your push-ups in. Get your sit-ups in. Go run. You don't need to go and make a video about how you ran. You don't need to make a video about how you're getting shots up. No, just go do the work. And when it's time to showcase the work, showcase the work. And if somebody's watching, say thank you and keep it moving. If nobody's watching, what's the big deal? Weren't you going to do this anyway? What happened to the love of the game? What happened to I'm going to play? Look, I'm here for load management when load management makes sense. I'm here for load management when, hey, 82 games plus another 30 in the playoffs means wear and tear on the body. I get that. If you feel like you're going to get injured and you're playing that way, shut it down. But you don't have to yell about shutting it down. You can just do it. Kawhi Leonard had nothing to say about load management except, hey, this is what my body needs. And he was right. Went and won a title. But that's different than saying, I need a crowd. You know, I always shout down people saying that the crowd made a big difference. Because, yeah, okay, cool. We want to know that we're making a difference because that's about us. That's not about the game. That's about us. You know, the atmosphere was great. The 20,000 people who spent over $2 million total to get into the building is awesome. And that's a regular season game, right? Somehow they missed also that at one point in their lives, nobody was watching them do this. Nobody was watching or cared to watch that you were going to do this. You had to prove value. You had to show that you could try out and make the team. That's proving value. You had to show once you got into the game that you could get buckets. That's proving value. Later, it became about how much attention you draw, and that's how they hand out shoe deals. Later, it became about how much attention you draw, and that's how they hand out super maxes and maxes. They even had to put in clauses to those things, like if you make the All-NBA team or you're voted most valuable player, to make sure that you got paid what you are worth. I'm not here for this, I need a crowd to do my job. It's nice to have a crowd to do your job. I'm thankful for the people that are listening to this show. I'm going to talk sports. I love talking sports. Anybody that's ever met me knows that I will talk sports until your ears fall off. I will spit stats. I will give opinions. I will do lists. But I'm not going to say what I'm not going to do. Like, what? Why? Who wins with that? Especially in an entertainment business, which is where we are. LeBron James is in an entertainment business. I am in an entertainment business. The way that you get people to enjoy the thing that you are creating is by entertaining them. And if they want to see you play basketball in an empty arena, guess what you need to do? But that gets ahead, right? That gets way ahead. We're not through this yet. Don't know when we'll be through it yet. There are folks that still want to entertain not having a football season. I'm going, okay, if you want to do that now, fine. I choose to wait until the summer. I'm going to try to let the people in charge figure it out because I know they're in uncharted territory as well, and I want them to prove that they're smart. That's what I want right now. I want everybody to prove that you're good at what you do. You know, instead of making an excuse about what you can't do. Show what you are worthy of doing. And then when everything picks back up, you know what people will remember? That you didn't quit. That you showed up. Your kids, your homeschooling, they will remember that you did it now. This is going to imprint on them. I worry about some of my friends who don't choose to care or want to take care of their parents. And I'm going, what happened? Well, their parents didn't prove value. They were doing things in spite of their parents, not with them. I implore you, this is the time to prove your value. Prove your value to each other. We have businesses that are on the brink right now. We can help them because they have proven value to us in the past. Same thing goes with the NBA. The same thing goes with Jalen Hurts in New England. This is America. And I'm not talking about a Childish Gambino song. Thanks for being here. I want to take this time now to acknowledge a restaurant in the Tulsa Metro. I'm trying to do this more often. I don't get paid for these. I just want these people to have an opportunity to continue to create and make delicious food. One of those places, Trey's Bar and Grill. Travis Davidson is a friend. He's one of the first sponsors of Fight Me, which was my Sunday radio show that I did with Corey Hilliard. He's an awesome dude. He has delivery service for both Trey's Bar and Grill and the Cardinal Club, which is South Tulsa's newest high-end restaurant. They're already making waves. For those staying safe and staying home, Cardinal Club is offering takeout, curbside service, or free delivery. They offer their standard menu, but also family-style menu with classic comfort food like chicken and dumplings, beef stroganoff, and more. For easy ordering, call 918-704-766. That's 918-970. Let me do the number again. 918-970-4766. 918-970-4766. Find them on Facebook or menus at cardinalclubtulsa.com. 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 Cardinal Club is located in the middle of the Vineyard Shopping Center at 108th and Memorial. You can find Travis always out and about. He isn't laying off a single employee during this crisis. With the community's help, his single mothers, single fathers, and expecting mothers, he's going to make sure that they're not going to miss a paycheck. You can patronize both Trey's Bar and Grill and the Cardinal Club. I appreciate you guys.